the Live the Dream Media Network, Arizona's premier live podcast studio and online radio.
What's up, guys? We are back with Season 2 of Southern Arizona Sports Talk. Hey, I gotta admit, having the nerves again, being excited, feels freaking amazing. And I hope you guys enjoyed your holiday. I enjoyed my time. I gotta say, I missed being here. Just real quick, before we get into the show, just a quick announcement. And, you know, coming from sports, every time we get a big signee or something huge happens, we got to celebrate it. And Dave, get ready to hit almost every button that's back there. We got the voice of Tucson, the man, the myth, the legend, Christopher D. Simone, coming full-time to Live the Dream Media starting January 27th. That is huge. And like I told you when I first left, we got some big things coming to the LTD Media in 2025. One other thing is, and we're gonna get into it real quick. Or actually, let me make this announcement so you all know what high school baseball team to check out. I will be coaching JV baseball at Marana High School this year. Make sure you guys show their Instagram. Any way you guys can show support, show the team some support. And after every season and anything I do, I always look back at things. What can I do better? How can I make this experience better for the audience? And one of the things is I'm blessed in the sense I have a lot of people around me mentoring me in the right way. And I really want to share one of the biggest mentors in my life with the audience. And this guy is named Richard Lopez. If you guys don't know who he is, figure out who he is. He's the chaplain for the U of A football team in high schools around Tucson. He got a message for you guys, and he will have a message every week. Dave, go to the video.
Welcome to the Sports Minute with Chaplain Richard Lopez with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. As we begin 2025, there is a verse in Luke chapter 6 that talks about out of the abundance of your heart, your mouth speaks. And so we have to be aware that whatever's coming from our mouth is really revealing what's in our heart. And we have to understand that sometimes it's hard to produce good fruit if there's some brokenness in our heart. And my prayer and my challenge for us as we prepare for 2025 is that we would allow the Lord to examine our heart so that He can restore, that He can renew, and He can rebuild us to become the student athletes that He created us to be. Because we know there's a lot of challenges up ahead, but if our heart is right, we can experience freedom. We can experience the ability to go out there and just do what God's called us to do with no hang-ups, with no obstacles, and knowing, man, if my heart is right, man, I can go out there and experience such joy in my journey. So just be reminded that, man, listen to what comes out of your mouth because it reveals what's in your heart. And I pray that we would just allow ourselves to really take some time and examine why do we say what we say? Why do we do what we do? Because it's really a reflection of what's in my heart. And we got to experience freedom, forgiveness, and letting some things go in our lives that are holding us back from experiencing the joy that God wants us to have. So let's enjoy the journey and let's prepare ourselves, but let's also be mindful, man, God, search my heart. If there's anything that's wrong there, man, that God will renew it so that we can go out there and enjoy 2025. Let's make it a great year. Let's have a great week as we prepare.
Coming to you live from Live the Dream Media Studio, Southern Arizona Sports Talk with your host, Raul Soto Romero.
What's up, guys? So we are back, and we're back with the guy who finished on top. You know, you guys saw that picture of him kissing that state championship trophy. Give it up for Pat Nugent. How you doing, Coach?
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you for being on. I got to ask you this, because you were talking about you being from New York, holiday seasons. Let me ask you this. If you had the choice of having a time machine to go back and punch Aaron Boone in the face for throwing in Nestor Cortez in the World Series game, what do you want that for Christmas?
Oh, gosh. I'm a Yankee fan, true and true, and just getting back to the series was a nice thing, but getting blown out wasn't pretty. So
it was ugly, man.
I've never been a big Boone fan, but we'll take what we can right now.
They didn't get rid of him, man. What do you think?
Yep, definitely.
Shoot, throw Brett Strom as the manager in there or something. Put some Tucson pride in there.
Yeah, bring Bucky Dent back.
Oh, shit. Or what's his name? Bob Mernon or something like
Bob
that.
Lemon?
Yes,
Yeah,
that
there you
dude.
go. Old time there.
Yeah. Hey, I got some old folks in my life. I know some old school things. How were your holidays, man? What did you do during the break?
It was good. 2 weeks. It took my whole family. We got 4 children with husbands and wives and 5 grandkids. So we took a 3-day trip over to Disneyland. It was a madhouse over there. So I don't know how much vacation it was, but a great time with the family.
What was your guys' favorite ride?
Oh, I'm not a big ride guy.
Really?
No, I'm not a big. I hung out.
You're
with,
intense and everything on the field, and you don't like a little adrenaline on the
I don't
roller
like those
coaster?
rides too much. I think Pirates is about as much as I can do over there. But you know,
Oh man, doing it.
yeah, not much.
That's awesome. You got a favorite meal from the holiday season or something?
Oh, we do a nice prime rib on Christmas Eve and smoking on my green egg. So it was
My
a
man,
good
the prime
night.
rib.
Yeah.
Yeah, prime rib. So big 14-pounder. Had the whole crew over.
14 pound?
Yeah, it was
Dang.
great. Yeah.
Next year, make sure you invite the LTD media crew over there.
There you go. There
Awesome.
you go.
So, hey, thank you for being on the show. You just came off an incredible season, and I really want to get into what it was like developing a state championship team. But as always, I want to learn who Pat Nugent was before he was a coach. So tell us what it's like growing up in New York, man.
Yeah, I'm in a small town, Rye, New York, right outside, about 30 minutes outside of New York City, about 25 minutes from the Bronx. I used to grow up watching those Yankees all the time.
shoot.
But, you know, I grew up there. My dad was a high school football coach. Actually, the high school stadium was named after my dad. He was kind of a legend back in New York State,
Nice.
State Hall of Fame coach. And
Did he do anything other than high school, college?
did
or-
I? Yeah, I was a big athlete and
No,
quarterback.
I'm sorry about that. It was your dad. Tell us a little bit how your dad was, his career as a player and a coach.
We come from a big-time football family. My uncle actually is Tom Nugent, big-time coach. He was a head coach at Maryland, Florida State.
Nice.
He invented the I formation. He's a big-time legendary coach back then. But my dad got into coaching when he was young, and small high schools, and went to Ithaca College, played at Ithaca College, and then took over a program. Ended up being the athletic director at our school. But he's kind of my mentor back when I was a kid. Got me into playing sports, and I was a 3-sport athlete, and sports been a part of my life for a long time.
You're like Bo Jackson, Pat knows.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I was out there all the time.
What were the sports you played?
I was football, basketball, and baseball.
Cool. What was the first sport you started when you were young? What was
baseball. I thought I was a
here you
baseball
go.
guy my whole life, but back in New York, we only played about 4 months out of the year, so it wasn't a whole lot. So but football was a big time thing in our school. Our program was an elite program, still an elite program back in New York State right now. So, with my dad coaching and being a part of that was what I wanted to do. And I thought I was an athlete, thought I was going to be a big time quarterback, but at 5'9", 155 pounds, I realized that wasn't going to be it. So I got out of there and I decided to come out to the University of Arizona and tried out for the baseball team back in 1986, and that didn't work out too well, and got into athletics over there, working for Dick Tomey in the football program as a student manager, and took it from there.
Nice. So growing up in New York, what was it like? How much different is it than you see your high schoolers growing up in Tucson?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I live in a great community. I can never go back. I can't afford to live back there. But I grew up by an amusement park. I don't know if you ever seen the movie Big, or that with that amusement park that he goes at the end. I grew up a block from the amusement park, so it was a great town. We lived right on Long Island Sound. My dad had a boat. We went out there, and just a great small community. We were far enough away from New York City to enjoy it, but close enough to enjoy it too, So it was great atmosphere back there, and great community, great little community that we lived in and enjoyed every bit of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So growing up, because you said your dad was a huge mentor in your life, and we relate in the sense that my dad was my hitting coach, my wrestling coach. What was it like? What were the struggles like of separating your being a father and a coach in your family home?
It was tough because I never saw my dad too much. I had older siblings that were basically out of the house when I was 10. They were 9, 10 years older.
So
than me,
you're the youngest one?
I'm the youngest of 4.
Favorite one?
I claim that, but I think I was a mistake in the family because my dad was actually 45, so he had me. So it was it's just part of my being around football all the time, being around the high school, and once again, our high school was everything in our town. So my dad was a big part of that town, and he just kind of grew up, and that's where you wanted to be. And you were around athletics, you were around football, and it was hard because my dad was the athletic director growing up, and you always had those people say the only reason you're playing is because your dad's the AD or something like that. So you have to grow through that, and it's always hard when your dad's a part of the athletic world that you got to fight those barriers that you've earned it, but a lot of people won't give you credit.
Yeah. So watching you coach, kind of talk to my uncle about you a little bit, your mindset is second to none. Where did that come from? And dealing with those issues of like people saying you're only on the field because your dad's the athletic director. How did you deal with that? What would you tell yourself? Because there's some people, like what they call it, daddy ball, that could be going through that same thing right now.
Yeah, I think it's, you watch, and you saw how your dad did things. You saw how Coach Tomey did things. And then my mentor, John Kashner, who was Flown Wells head coach when I first started coaching, you watch those guys coach. So the same thing with my dad. You saw how he treated people. And I think that was always my upbringing, is kind of how you treat people, how you treat your athletes, and what you do from learning from those guys. So, you got to break free of being the athlete and know you got to be a coach, and you got to take care of what he taught you, and you learn from everything you do in the athletic world. That's
awesome. So you finish high school, you get to U of A. What was it like being a student manager?
Student manager.
And if you can look back, what were the lessons you learned?
Well, the lesson I learned was I was not a great athlete in high school, because that was, it was great. I was on a full scholarship there, just like an athlete was, and never got hit once, so I walked out with a healthy body. But, the learning experience, being on a Division I football field every day, every practice, going on road trips, the game, the experience of a lifetime, walking into Pac-12 stadiums and Pac-10 at that time. But, those are great things, and you just learn, and being around the coaches that I was with every day was phenomenal experience, so I got too much caught up into it. I wasn't the greatest student in the world, but I made it through college, and the passion started growing as a coach and being around football, and I didn't know what to do. I'd been around football my whole life, and kind of, when I first got to U of A, tried out for baseball, I wasn't involved with it, so I spent about 2 months or so without any athletics in my life, and then finally hooked up.
How crazy did it feel during that time?
It was weird. Well, number one, I came to Tucson, Arizona, which was way out of my culture. Shit. Coming from New York City.
Probably in August, like, why the heck is it this hot?
Yeah, so it was crazy. What the heck was I doing? I was far from my family, my friends.
Homesick a little bit?
Oh, way homesick, And then, once again, it was the first year I hadn't been around football in a long time, and I was a big high school athlete and kind of the big man on campus, but once you get out here in a big old university, you're nobody,
Oh, man.
And that was a hard thing to do. So, the first couple of months were really homesick, but until I got that job, I got the job about November. So once I got that, I got involved with athletics, and, it kept me going.
Nice. So what were kind of the responsibilities you had just being a student manager?
Well, the first couple of years was kind of a neat experience. I was McHale manager, so I was in McHale. I worked every sport. I mean, I set up, and this is back in the 80s, so this is a long time ago, where we used to set up the whole baskets, the media stand. Those were just tables or the banner out in front in those days, So I did everything. I was in McHale all the time. I did girls basketball, volleyball, gymnastics, boys basketball. So we set up the arena, and then I got the chance to be in every basketball game, so... two great experience for me. I was a host manager for the NCAA tournament back when we used to host it here in McHale.
Oh, dang.
I got to sit on the bench with Bobby Knight, and that was a lifetime experience. I was nervous as heck and scared to be on the bench, and kind of just handed him a towel and water when he needed it. So, those are great experiences. So I saw some unbelievable people that came through McHale. I was there when we first started this program in '88, when Steve Kerr was there, Tom Tolbert was there, Sean Elliott.
Man, you were around legends.
Yeah, I was around a lot of people. So I just watched those guys, and I was a little freshman, sophomore guy at school, and the program started taking off. So I was around that, and it was great. But then once Coach Tomey got in, and I was there for one season for Larry Smith, and I was a ball boy. I was on the sideline as a ball boy for Chuck Cecil's 106-yard interception. And
nice.
I was actually on the ASU sideline doing balls, and it was, I'll never forget.
Yeah, the good guys. I'm kidding. I'm an ASU fan, man.
So I might have to leave.
Yeah, I interview over Appleton.
Yeah. So it was just, what a cool experience that was. But then I got to be on the field full time when Coach Tomey got there in the springtime, and never left. I was a quarterback manager, so I worked hand in hand with the quarterback coach, and
nice.
I did that for 3 years. And we did everything from being on the field, snapping to the quarterbacks, throwing to the receivers, and then spotting the ball when they needed it. And then you got, you had to do laundry afterwards and setting up the locker room.
Oh, man, how was that one?
That was always tough,
But it made it worth it at the end.
Oh, yeah. You're on a full scholarship. I'm from New York, so paying out-of-state tuition. So
they gave you guys a full scholarship?
I was on a full
ride.
Oh,
that's awesome, man.
I got a per diem every month, and I was on training tables and had my meals paid for. So it was just great. And once again, when you travel on in the Pac-10, you travel on a charter flight to go to Washington and those games. It was great.
You're making me jealous playing Division II baseball now.
There you go. Yeah, definitely.
All right, guys, that's the time for the first commercial break of 2025. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Snap Fitness. This is my gym.
And my gym.
And this is my gym.
And my gym.
Here at Snap Fitness Marana, we welcome all kind people trying to stay healthy.
Ready to make us your gym? Click the link below, message us on social media, or give us a call 520-400-4646.
We are Jet Sports Training, where our mission is to cultivate champions. This is where athletes come to get faster and everyday people come to change their lives. This is not a gym, but a community. Come get jetted.
Take off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lot of y'all doubted on me. Now they like, wow, look how far you got. Legendary like all my idols, coming for it all, and I can't wait. Success just called and I got me a date. So I grab my ambitions and I'm on my way. Cross the wrong line and it's bad news. Might get burnt like a candle. We too hot to handle. World at my feet like a sandal. I only move when I play to your moves could get canceled.
This episode is brought to you by Advanced Vision Care and Dry Eye Spa. Go check them out at 7552 North La Troya Boulevard across from Foothills Mall, 520-744-1711. Tell them Rue sent you in. We are back, guys. All right, after making me feel kind of sad about not being able to go on a plane on a Division II school, it is what it is. But let me ask you this. Before we start getting to your coaching career, you look back at being a student manager. What's your favorite moment on the field and the favorite moment off the field?
Well, I think the favorite moment was, the relationships I created. It was unbelievable being a part. Here I am, 155 pounds. My roommates were the kicker and the wide receiver, and they were the superstars of the team. I lived with some of the linemen that was there. So my friendships that I created from the U of A football team was probably by far the best part of, being off the field. But being on the field, I'll never forget going up to UW and playing Washington in a rainstorm up there. And
nice.
Gary Fast was our kicker, and we kicked the field goal with 1 second left to win 16-13. And the Singleton brothers, I was walking them out. It was just a great experience in a packed Washington Stadium.
Stories that are going to last a lifetime.
Oh, without question. A lot of the things. And, it was neat being the guy that wasn't have to be at meetings or anything. So I got to enjoy the town.
Yeah.
I'd go out on Friday nights with a couple of the trainers and stuff like that. Went to restaurants. So learned a lot. I had a lot of cities I'll never get back to probably because I won't go to them. But, a great experience.
Yeah. What was the craziest city you went to?
I remember going to Seattle. It was opening night at the Sonics back in those days,
Nice.
So it was, just a fun time. We went to a couple of, big time fish restaurants, did that, and then poured rain the whole weekend. It was just pretty neat.
Dude, like we were just talking about, I lived in Oregon, man. Sometimes you go 2 weeks without seeing the sun because of the rain.
Yeah, no, it was miserable game, but it was fun when we won.
Yeah. It's always better when you win, no matter what.
Always.
So, and you've done a lot of that in your career, and I really want to start getting into that. So once you graduate U of A, what was going on in your head? Did you know you wanted to coach, or did you have other opportunities?
I didn't know what I really wanted to do. I enjoyed life a little bit in college, and I got out and graduated and had no direction really. And then one of my dear friends was Dr. Bill Prickett. Bill Prickett was the backup quarterback. So I played a little bit. His dad was head football coach at Rincon. So just hanging out with Billy, he said, hey, why don't you go help my dad out over at Rincon? So in 1990, went out there and just kind of volunteered a little bit, got around. I wasn't really full-time, just kind of showed up and practiced a little bit. And that's when I got into it. And then I really got into coaching baseball. That was really what I wanted to do. Yeah.
So you wanted to be a baseball coach out of the
Yeah, I
get-go.
really wanted to be a baseball coach. So I got into coaching baseball. I was actually started my baseball career at Greenfield Country Day School. And then
Where is that still open or
no, it's closed now.
Oh,
It's over on right here on Ina and Camino de la Tierra, right there off of Orange Grove. So
Okay.
little private school that had athletics, and I closed about 4 or 5 years ago, I think it was, but just a 1A school, and just kind of got involved a little bit over there, coaching really bad baseball.
Yeah,
and,
that's what I was gonna ask. What is it like coaching 1A?
Oh, it was tough. Travel, you have 10 kids because it was a small team, and you jump in a van. At that time, I was probably, 24, 25, and, I actually was a head coach when I was a couple years older, but traveling, far away land, Ajo, going up to the White Mountains, playing the games.
Yeah, let me ask you this. So were you the head JV coach, head varsity coach over
No,
there?
we only had one team, so I started 2 years as an assistant, and then that guy became the athletic director, so I took over as the head baseball coach.
Nice.
I think it was, 90, 94, 95, in that range. So that's how I started that.
I'm going to be a little selfish right now and pick your brain a little bit because I have a similar situation. As a young guy, being 23 years old, so similar to their ages and high schoolers, how did you deal with that, and how did you make sure there was a difference seeing them as a player, not as a friend, being so young?
That's the hardest thing, and I tell a lot of my young coaches, you can't be friends. You're not here for a relationship. And I had kind of had a rule always with my coaching career that I never hired a kid unless he was out and about for 2 years, because you didn't want that kid graduating and come back and being with his buddy and going to parties with him. So
Absolutely.
You got to pull yourself away, and you got to make sure they understand you're not there to be their friend. You're there to be their mentor and coach. And it's a hard transition. When you're a young coach, you try to be enthusiastic and you try to create that relationship, but you got to draw the line as who's the boss is kind of what I like to say.
Absolutely,
and they got to understand that.
Yeah, that way you don't say fuck around and find out or something.
Yeah.
All right, let me we can cuss on the show.
Yeah,
we're not FDA regulated. So when did you start switching over to football then? And how long before that? Let me step back a little bit. How long was your baseball coaching career?
I coached for about 8 years, and then when I went to CDO, did one more year. Well, that was easy coaching at CDO. That program's elite. I did a freshman pro. They were looking for a freshman coach, so I did one. So, I coached a lot of youth baseball back in my New York days. I did that all the way up through 18, 19, and then I got into coaching right away. So I was baseball guy for, probably 14 years.
Dang.
So I think once I became head coach at Flowing Wells, I kind of backed off a little bit in 1997. So I did, a solid 7 years of coaching JV baseball and head coach at Greenfield. So
shoot, I know you're not coaching anymore. You want to come coach with me at Marana?
No, I'm off the diamond for a while.
So what was it like your first year going into because Flowing Wells was your first head coaching skit, right?
Yeah.
What was that like going into basically a brand new job, switching sports and diving right back to the football field?
Yeah, I was an assistant coach for 6 years under John Kashner, who was my mentor. I learned pretty much everything from the football world from Coach Kashner, and he was the head guy, and he ended up leaving, so I took over the program in '97. So it was great because we kept pretty much the whole staff. So a lot of the guys that were with Coach Kashner stuck around, and it was just we were all buddies, we were all friends. So it was kind of we all grew up together in that system, and we just kind of took it over and kept the program going a little bit, but at that time, we ended up going 5A my third year. So it was, at that time, it was just 5A, 4A, 5A. We were 4A.
Oh, so you guys, that's the top dogs
that
right
was
there.
The top dog.
That's crazy because I think Flowing Wells is barely a 4A now.
Yeah. No, they're Flowing Wells 5A.
Oh, they're 5A now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but we were the highest level, we just couldn't play. And, I remember playing Hamilton. They were big schools. They were still 5A, but we just couldn't compete with guys like that.
Yeah, it's different.
It's kind of when I decided to leave Flowing Wells and end up going to CDO.
Cool. Was that kind of the idea, like once you left Flowing Wells, I'm going to transition to CDO, or did it just happen by accident?
I like I said, Flowing Wells was a great situation. I had a great job over there. It was a great one school district. They gave me what we wanted. But, as we started seeing, I kind of saw that we were going 5A and knew we were going to be, 5 kids above the original 5A numbers. It wasn't like we were going to ever be a big school. So I had to look at the opportunity, and someone called me when CDO. And at that time, in 2000, CDO was the 5th largest school in the state of Arizona at the
top
time.
Dogs winning everything.
Big dog. We have
PD Tucson High at everything.
3,000 kids winning sports. And at that time, the football program was really down. They had an 0-10 season in '99. So got a call. Somebody I knew got me involved, got me the opportunity to get over there, interviewed, and got the job. So, and it's funny because my nephews, one of my nephews was a JV football player there. So my nephews were there, and it kind of was the right fit. I was living up on the Northwest side anyway, so it was a good fit for me, and that was a great experience.
Nice. So wait, I didn't see this, but you said CDO, they were 0-10 that year before that?
Yeah, they were actually 1-9 the year before, in 88, 98, and then 99 they went 0-10. So we took over the program.
Yeah, what was your trick then? Because from the stats I see right now, you guys went 6-4. So what did you guys change in that culture?
Yeah, we just changed everything. One of the biggest things that helped us that year, we were playing Marana Mountain View, who was number 1 preseason ranked. They were our first game. We just promoted the heck out of beating them,
Marana Mountain, or you said Mountain View was number 1?
Yeah, they were number 1 in 4A. We were a 5A school, but they were number 1 ranked in 4A. So we promoted the heck out of trying to win, do whatever it took to win again. But once again, it has been a lot of Pat Nugent. I got some great assistants. Pat Ryden, who's the head coach at South Point, was my D coordinator at the time. And, we just put a great staff together, and they had some good-looking kids up there. We just kind of, promoted, changed the culture a little bit, got the kids fired up about playing football, and we won that first game. It kind of changed everything.
Yeah.
And kind of funny thing, though, we ended up losing the next 3 against some big Phoenix schools, but turned the program around. We ended up playing Amphi in the last game of the year for the league title. We lost it, but 6-4 and got the program back on its feet, and everybody got excited and really turned the program around.
Yeah, you guys just started rolling after that.
Yeah, just kept rolling.
Yeah, so in 2007, you get your first taste of its state championship, right?
Yeah, we went to the state championship 2007.
So what was that journey like? Because now you're seeing something from the beginning to the end, kind of seeing what the program was like before you got there. Now it's 6 years later and you're in the state championships. What was that like?
Yeah, but we were competitive. We were getting into playoffs, and I think one of the things we learned from some of the coaching experiences, we were always excited about getting to the playoffs, and we never really talked about winning. It was always let's get to the playoffs, and then we lose in the first round 2-3 years in a row, and we finally had a great group of kids in 2007, and, Kadeem Carey was a freshman. We brought him up from the freshman team and got along with us. But, those are kids that built into that culture. They were in the program for 4 years, and they developed a little bit. And, at the time in 2004, I think it was, when Ironwood Ridge opened up, we really depleted our roster a little bit. And,
you kind of had the split up there.
Yeah, we had to split up. We lost a whole bunch of sophomore kids. So numbers were, I think one year we were about 25, 26 kids in our program in 2005, I think it was. So numbers were bad, and then we just kept building and building. And, once we made that run in the playoffs, kind of the whole program was excited to be
ready to go
time.
after that.
Yeah. My last year we went, we were in the finals, lost in the championship game by 2 points with 3 seconds left in the game, field goal. And then following year we went to the state semifinals, and then I left to go to Pima, and CDO won it with Dusty Peace the next year.
Dusty Peace? Oh, so you left a legacy behind.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of talent there, but I had an opportunity to go to junior college, and Coach Peace, who played for me at Flowing Wells and coached for me at CDO, took over the program. So.
Nice. Before I want to get into the Pima career, and then also this year you had, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back.
Sounds good.
We'll be right back, guys.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair. My drains were clogged. I was really in despair. So I called some guy. You've never seen such a mess. And every time he leaned over, well, you can probably guess. Now I get it done right by Picture Rocks Cooling. They're neat and clean, peachy keen. Really no fooling. Got a problem? Just call up and help is coming. Picture Rocks Cooling, heating and plumbing.
Hi, I'm Alan Murdoch. For the past 20 years, I've been buying, fixing, and selling properties right here in Southern Arizona. And I want to buy your property. Whether it's a house, apartment, commercial building, or vacant land, regardless of the condition or the situation, I want to talk to you. When you sell to me, I pay cash and it's hassle-free. No repairs, no closing costs, and no commissions. If you have a property you don't want to deal with and you want a quick solution, call, text, or visit selltalon.com. Again, that's selltalon.com.
Discover the power of 88 Crime, where your anonymous tips are rewarded with cash.
When you call in anonymously with a tip, you are given a code. With the code and a password, you can walk into a bank and redeem your reward anonymously. If your anonymous tip results in a felony arrest, you can claim up to $2,500 cash reward.
Let's stop the silence on crime and strive for a safer community. For more information, please visit 88crime.org or call 88crime.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, coppercreekcookies.net.
We can print anything on our soft vanilla logo cookies. We deliver them and other sweet treats locally. We are located at 4249 West Ina Road, Suite 121. Call us 520-300-1131. We bake smiles.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies.
I'm Christina Johnston.
And I'm Bridget Kosis.
And we're the hosts of the Backseat Thriver podcast, coming to you every Friday at 10 a.m. live. So be sure to check us out.
What's up, guys? We are back. So when we were talking before, you said that Pima was a learning experience, basically. What was it like making that decision from CDO going to Pima now?
You know, obviously, you know, the biggest thing is everybody dreams about being a big-time coach, you know, and you want to be a college coach. And I think the opportunity to go to the next level, and, you know, I'll always remember I was teaching driver's ed and health and weightlifting, and
nice.
you're working as a teacher every day of the week, and football was basically your second job. And I remember when the chancellor at Pima Community College called me, I said, what would be my teaching responsibility? They said, oh, you're just here to coach football. I said, you know, you're only going to coach football all day? So that was your dream. So, hey, I'm a football coach. I'm going to coach football all day long, no other responsibility. So that was the thing that got me going, and it was exciting. And at that time, Pima was absolutely horrible. They had lost like 45 games in a row.
Yeah, I remember.
And they were getting blown out. And it was really cool because I went and got some unbelievable coaches, some name guys that were in Tucson that were head coaches. And they just
Who did you have with you?
Oh, I had Will Kramer, I had Jeff Green, who legendary coach. Jim Paul was a coach at Nogales High School. Pat Wright, MYD, Sean Wasson, Mark Texera, and, you know, Brandon Sanders, who's currently at the U of A, became our safety
I know
coach.
that dude. He coached that Flubba.
Yeah, so, you know, we had an unbelievable staff, and at the time, we went out and got the best Tucson players. You know, everybody was fired up that we were getting the program back, and, you know, we went out and got the all-league kids, every all-Tucson kid there was. But hard part was, that was a big boy conference. You know, that junior college league in Arizona was unbelievable, and we realized we just couldn't compete with Tucson kids playing, you know, these dormitory schools like Eastern Arizona, Western.
That can get guys from everywhere.
Snow College were kids from all over the nation. They were men compared to these young boys we were playing from Tucson. So it was hard transition. You know, I loved every part of it. Recruiting was tough. You know, our dollar amount was hard to get kids in. It was always a battle to try to find the recruits to come to Pima, and you know, the housing situation was never easy for kids, and then it was tough, you know. So it was a long 5 years. You know, they never competed well. We actually, that first year we went 0 for, you know, we competed. We were in every single game, you know. That was the hard part. We competed every week. We were playing well below with some of the levels we were playing with, but we competed. Our kids were tough. The coaching staff did a great job prepping every day, and it was kind of exciting, even though we were losing, seeing where the program was going compared to where it was. So those are neat things, but it was tough because as I went 0-10 my first year at Pima, CDO went 14-0 and won a state title. So
because people can deal with that all the time, seeing they left somewhere and then seeing them succeed in another spot.
Yeah.
How was that on you, kind of seeing the place you left go 14-0 when you're...
Yeah, it was tough, you know, no question about struggling and working, but it was a choice I made, and I don't ever regret that decision. You know, it was something I had to do. I don't, you know... Pima was tough. If I had it all over again, I probably wouldn't do it, but I had to do it at the time. The opportunity to go coach college was everybody's dream, and I had to do it. Even I knew CDO was loaded, and we had an unbelievable program, and Kadeem was going to be a junior going into that year. So it was hard, but it was fun. You know, it was watching them win. I was part of it. I was on the sideline that night, and I was excited for our kids winning a 14-0 state titles at U of A that year, and it was good, you know. But laying your head down on a pillow that night after being 14-0 and you're 0-10 was always like, holy cow,
tough.
Did I blow that, you know? But great experience, but it was a hard battle, you know. So it was a long 5 years. The best record we ever had was my last year. We went 5-5. And we changed a lot of things. Edgar Soto was a great AD, good friend. I know you know him well.
Yeah,
you know,
shout out Edgar Soto.
Edgar was great. He was very supportive, but hands were tied too. There was only so much money he could give, and we had rules and regulations in Southern Arizona, Pima College, and we could only bring so many kids in. But we started bringing a few kids from out of state and started competing a little bit. We ended up my last year, we beat Arizona Western and Snow.
Ooh, that's huge.
Yeah, we went 5-5 that last year, and that was about the time I said I need to get the heck out of here. So I ended up leaving.
So in life, in the worst situations, we can have our biggest learning lessons. What did you learn being in that 5-year struggle with Pima that you took into your Cienega career and your Mica Mountain career?
Well, it was hard. It was college was different. It's a year-round activity. In high school level, you get to January and you just, you're not doing it year-round. But with recruiting, with spring ball, with summer activities, there was never an end to it. So it was hard. I had little kids. My wife was trying to run a business, and it was difficult. So I think we learned a lot about who I was as a person and how I can handle. But there was a lot of down moments. I was down. I didn't like losing. Losing was tough.
No one does.
And, I had some down moments. My wife and I really had some struggles just because I was depressed a lot, and it was and I know my wife got a hold of Coach Tomey, and Coach Tomey talked me through a lot of things back in there. He was a huge mentor in my struggle days at Pima, and we were ready to get out. There was no question about it. I know Edgar didn't want me to leave, and the program was going in the right direction, but it was time. I had put enough, and I was better high school kind of guy. Junior college world was tough.
How does Cienega get involved now? Because I know right after that you jump over to Cienega.
Yeah, Neimer Hassey, he and I grew up as young coaches. He was at Saguaro. Howard Brynick and my head coach, John Castro, they were good friends. So Neimer and I were the young little assistants that grew up with our head coaches that hung out together. So we just became friends, back in the early 2000s and or 1990s, I guess it was. And we just hung out, and then Neimer was assistant principal head coach at Cienega, and he was going to become principal, and they weren't going to let him coach anymore. So he called me, knew he was going to do it. He said, come over for a year. I'm going to become a principal at the semester, and you could take over the program. So that's kind of how that all happened. Yeah. So I was ready to get out of Pima. He gave me a great situation to go over to Cienega, and we had a great season, 14-2 that first, 12-2 I think we were that first year, and Neimer's last
16,
year.
Right?
That was 15 when
15.
14, I'm sorry, when Neimer was the head coach. So I took over the program in 15.
15? Nice.
Yeah.
So at this point, you have two really good teams. I remember just watching it. You have the 16 team and 17 team. You guys are undefeated until you get to the semifinals.
Yeah.
What were those two teams like? Because I know you had Jamari Joyner at one point as well.
Loaded. That 16 team, and I love my team this year, but that 16 team, we were just phenomenal athletes. We had kids all over the place, and we were great. The only problem was Centennial High School was a legendary school, and they were just beating up everybody, and they won 4 or 5 state titles in a row. So just couldn't get over the hump against teams like that. We were a great Tucson team, and we blew a lot of teams out. And
I remember those days, man.
Jamari Joyner was absolutely amazing, one of the best kids I've ever had, just a tremendous athlete. And we had a lot of those kids. We had a lot of players that played football and got the program going. So we had 2 undefeated seasons back-to-back, and then we got to the semifinals, and Centennial was they were a different breed. The following year was tough because we lost to Notre Dame in the last second, Notre Dame Prep. But the reality there is Centennial won the state title. Notre Dame Prep got beat by 40. So it wasn't like we were going to win. So those
is
years,
this in the 5A or is this Open 8 at this point?
That was 5A.
5A.
Yeah, we were 5A at that point, which was the largest. At that time they didn't have 6A. I guess I'm sorry. We were 5A. They were 6A at that time.
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
So you get into your coaching career, and I mean this very respectfully. Was there ever a time where you're thinking like, oh man, I might not get that ring finally because you've been coaching so long? Did that mindset ever come? Because there was a situation, who Andy Lopez is, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. I've been able to create a little bit of a relationship with him, going to him for advice for coaching or whatever it is. He says he was in Wichita, just got done getting swept by them out of the playoffs, and he's walking around the Wichita campus, and he's like, I might never get this done here. Did you ever have a moment like this?
Yeah, when I left Cienega. I was going to a brand new school, and there was no way in heck we were going to win a state title. And I knew I didn't have too many years left. I was, 27 years as a head coach now, so I was into my 23rd, 24th year, and you leave Cienega, and we were a powerhouse at that time, and Hassey left to become principal at Mica Mountain. He was, one of my closest friends, and kind of talked us all into going over there to build a new place, and that was a great experience, but we never thought we'd win.
Yeah.
We thought
what was that first year like, man? Because you guys are building from the ground up.
Yeah.
And you guys can't even recruit because it's high school. So how did you even get kids trusting you to?
We don't know. That was the hard part because Cienega was the big boy in the Vale district. So you had to hope kids would want to come to Mica. And why would they come to Mica? That first year I got there was we didn't even have a varsity schedule. We were all freshmen, sophomore, juniors basically, and we ended up beating the heck out of some JV teams, and I'm like, hey, find me some varsity games. So we ended up playing 6 varsity games, went 3-3 that year. But
with almost like a JV squad too,
with
right?
all young kids. You know, we ended up playing. We played Mesa Mountain View. Mesa Mountain View up in Phoenix, 6A school, because they needed a game. You know, that was that year after COVID, so people were still looking for games. Played South Point, you know, so we were getting beat up. But it was I told those kids, you want to be the best someday, you got to play the best. And that's kind of the culture we started. We were playing freshmen, playing big boy football. And that was, we wanted them to learn what it was to play a big time game.
Throw them in the fire right away.
And then, you know, we got going. And then the following year was really our first senior class. And unfortunately, we didn't make the playoffs, but we did win the region. We beat CDO in the last game of the year to win the region. And we missed the playoffs by like percentage points. And it was disappointing, but in reality, it was probably the best thing for us because it gave us hunger for the following year.
Yeah, turn into a dog at that point.
There was some hard times. I mean, there was days I sat at that school thinking, why am I here? You know, this is hard. We're never going to win. This is going to be a tough situation, you know. You're building – you had babies, you know, they didn't know. There was no culture there. There was nothing there when we got there. So you have to preach everything you do. But I was fortunate because I brought ex-players that played for me. I had, you know, people that had coached with me before.
David Lopez is one of my homies. He said he loves being an assistant coach for you.
We just wanted to bring guys that knew what it was to be a part of our program. So that's what we did.
And you had a legend with you too, Richard Sanchez. What was that like?
Richard was wandering the streets one day, and he walked into our practice, wanted to watch practice. I said, what are you doing with yourself? He said, I'm bored as heck. I said, come on out and do it. So, you know, we've learned a lot from Richard. He has a different culture than I am a little bit. Richard's that hard-nosed, tough South Side mentality, you know, get after the kids. And it was a good mix between, you know, my CDO mentality compared to his Sunnyside mentality. So we worked well together. So he's been a mentor to me. I've learned a lot from Richard, and it's been a great experience.
Yeah. So getting into spring football last year, was there just something different in the air where you were just thinking this might be it, or did this just kind of come by surprise?
We lost in the state semifinals in a game we thought we could handle. We thought we could beat CDO, but obviously they were a phenomenal team and had an unbelievable running back. So we were good, but you know, when we walk out of that game and we've got 31 seniors coming back, our entire offensive line was coming back, our entire defensive line was coming back. So we knew we were going to be good. We had a 4-year quarterback, basically. Jaden Thornton played pretty much his freshman year on, and we knew we were going to be good. We had some skilled kids we had to replace, but we had some special kids coming back. So we knew we were going to be competitive. We knew we were going to have a shot to get there. And it was just preaching all year about winning a state title, because when you lose in the state semifinals, you're hungry. Yeah. So the kids got a little chip on their shoulders a little bit, and they wanted to be a part of it. And from day one, January 1 last year, those kids had a hunger to be the best.
Chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, they wanted to be the best. They worked their tail off for a whole year.
Yeah, because I watched you guys at Sunnyside, and I didn't hear much about you guys as much as I think you guys deserved. I think a lot had to do with there's so much going on with other schools. Like, this was a really successful year for Southern Arizona football. But what was it like telling your players not to buy into the hype of being an undefeated team where people are projecting to win the state championships?
Well, it is hard, but we didn't win one. You know, we were still a new school. No one ever believed that we would win, even though we were predicted to be number one.
Did you guys still feel like kind of the underdogs? Like,
yeah. You know, because we always preach. You know, Brett Darling, our defense coordinator, we always say you're not a winner until you win in Phoenix, and that was always his motto a little bit. That we got to go up to Phoenix. You got to beat the Phoenix schools, and you got to beat those guys. And that was my mentality. So whatever we did in Tucson wasn't going to matter. You got to go play the big boys in Phoenix, and you got to win those games. And until that happens, you're not a champion. And that's really what the motto was all year. Yeah.
What was your message to your guys going to that state championship game? Because how do you calm them down? How do you get them ready? Because you guys dominated. Yeah. What was their mindset like, and what mindset were you trying to instill in them right before the game?
You know, I think the whole thing was just all year long. It was just a great. Our defense was absolutely amazing this year. One of the best defensive I've ever been around, and our defense staff did a great job. But we were phenomenal. Nobody could score on us. You know, they just didn't score. I saw that firsthand, man. We just knew that we can go in. We were going to be, you know, pretty good with our defense, and we'd keep us in the game. But you know, the thing was, once again, those kids wanted to win, and I don't think we thought anything other than a state championship. If we'd have lost, it would have been such a letdown. So. You know, I tell you, we talk about it right now. That was in the 4 years we've been there, that was the most yardage we've ever had in a game. Winning that game, we rushed the ball, the most record right there. And to play the last game of your season as your best game against a really good team. We blew them out, but people don't understand how good that team was.
Yeah.
We were just a better team, and we played at an elite level that night, and just a great expectations were high, and we went out and succeeded, and that's an amazing thing as a coach to see kids succeed at the last point.
What was that feeling like finally grabbing that trophy, knowing that you took, because how many years? 27 years, right?
27 as a head coach. Yeah,
27.
34 total, but 27 as a head coach. There's nothing I said to a lot of people. I don't even know how to explain it. That next morning was like an out-of-body experience. Like the entire world was off my shoulders. And, you dream about winning, you talk about winning, you tell kids you're going to win, but it wasn't reality all the time. And, we learned that from Richard. Richard's always talking about a state title. And, you always talk about it, but you don't think you're ever going to get there. And I think that was the weird thing is, holy cow, we're playing. Yeah. And then in that fourth quarter, we're like, holy cow, we're going to win a state title. So that was pretty cool. And, without question, it's for me, it was a no-brainer to get out after so many years. It was
you read my mind because you know where I was going to go right after that.
At the highest point, I knew it was probably my daughter's a senior at Mica Mountain and she's on her way out. So, I thought it was a time to get out, and I had 31 seniors, and the program's going to be around. Jay Campos had taken over the program, so it's going to be a great program for a while. But I think it was time for Pat Nugent to find something else, and to be on top. I call it the Peyton Manning step away when you're a champion. Yeah. It's a dream, and everybody, nobody's questioned it. No one said it's a lot of congratulations. Hey, congratulations on retiring. Congratulations on winning a state title. So it's been a cool couple of weeks.
You're one of the few people that can say they finished on top.
Yeah, without question. Dusty Pieces is one of my dear friends. Once again, played for me, coached with me. He got out last year after winning a second time, and he's a lot younger than I am, but I had put a lot of time into it, a lot of effort, and I got 5 grandkids now, so I can spend a little more time with them.
Heck yeah, start getting ready to be a Mica Mountain football player.
I don't know about that.
Because I know we're on time right now, but I do want to ask you this last question. Your career's essentially, because Jess Kearns is, right?
Yeah.
He said it's harder to retire than be a head coach. So I don't want to put it out there that you're completely done, but now looking at your career, kind of doing this next part of your life, what do you want your legacy to be remembered as a head coach in Southern Arizona?
I think without question, I want people to remember that I did it the right way. I feel I've got some good friends in the coaching business, and I treated them the right way. And we never tried to run up scores on teams like that. I have, whether it's kids, parents, peers, coaches. I always tell guys all the time when I'm buried, make sure you say nice things about me. So that's kind of always a thing. I wanted to go out on a high note, but I also want people to know I was a good person and did everything the right way.
Yeah, well, you went out on the highest note possible. You got done what a lot of people dream of. I hope you enjoy that ring, and thank you for being on, Coach.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's been good, and like I said, it's been a great 4 weeks. Being a lot of celebrity lives, a little bit, and I've enjoyed
you're
it.
At LTD Media, man.
I've enjoyed it, but I got to go find the next thing I need to sink my teeth into. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to drift off into the sunset too much, but I'm going to enjoy this victory, enjoy the title. But we'll find something else. I just know it's not going to be on the playing field right now.
Well, if you want to ever join the baseball playing field again, let me know, because I would love to have you as a coach.
There you go.
But hey, thank you guys. We are back. It is 2025. It's going to be a great year. Next week, we got 2 BMFs. If you know what that means, you're definitely an MMA fan. You're going to love the people we got coming in. Like I said, thank you guys for all the love and support. This show is dedicated to my Aunt Nancy, who passed away during this holiday season. Aunt Nancy, thank you for all the love and support. She was the first person to call me a superstar on the videos. Don't make fun of that, but yeah. See you guys next week.